Dubai has seen unprecedented rainfall. 1.5 years rainfall in a matter of 24 hours, according to climate scientist Colin McCarthy, leaving a desert city completely inundated. Airports, concrete, posh streets turning into rivers, metro stations flooded, residents bringing out their kayaks, multiple storms that brought almost apocalyptic scenes. The Sun has said that this is the worst thunderstorm in 75 years to hit Dubai. We are told the worst seems to be over. As Dubai is crippled, people are working from homes. Schools are online. Parts of Dubai are still inundated, but water levels are receding. The severe, unprecedented rainfall has for now stopped. But there is a travel advisory by Dubai Airport advising passengers to not come to Dubai Airport unless absolutely necessary. Flights continue to be delayed or diverted, according to the advisory. Emirates Airlines has suspended operations to and from Dubai until midnight of 18th April. In India, several airlines, including Air India, SpiceJet, and Indigo, have suspended operations to and from Dubai. And as the water levels recede, we hope and pray for strength, for Dubai and its people, for a quick recovery. But remember, this is not only Dubai's problem. Let's look at this. In Perth, just 4 days ago, there was almost unprecedented 100 millimeters rainfall in an hour. In Australia this year, that was meant to be record long hot summer turned into record rainfall. Floods devastated Queensland and Victoria. August 2023 saw record rainfall in Beijing, the highest in 140 years, we are told. Record rainfall in Greece in September 2023. 762 millimeters, worst in the country's history. In United States, remember the 1,000-year storm in San Diego and California's historic worst rainfall? And remember just last year itself, the serene streets of Dubai turned into waterlogged canals as heavy rainfall and thunderstorm battered parts of UAE. The authorities at that time had called it absolutely unprecedented weather and had issued advisories and asked residents to avoid beaches and stay indoors to ensure safety. Deja vu? Just that, yesterday turned out to be unprecedented yet again in Dubai, within a span of just 6 months. We have a lot of examples from closer home as well. Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Himachal, just to name a few. Unprecedented rainfall, flooding, landslides, not just once, repeatedly. Massive, unprecedented destruction. And remember, these are again not just country-specific challenges. In a world that for almost a decade is seeing its highest ever transnational migratory movement globally. Look at this. Indians represent the largest demographic of expats in Dubai, standing at around 25%. In fact, Dubai is sometimes referred to as the 5th city of India. I'm just giving you an example of just how interconnected is this challenge at a human level and globally. Both very critical to be understood. Now, what has caused this havoc? There are so many reports that are emerging. There's no official substantive explanation that explains all aspects. We'll try and bring you different aspects that have emerged, and we'll get you experts on it as well. According to CNN, the rain that plunged Dubai underwater is associated with a larger storm system traversing the Arabian Peninsula and moving across the Gulf of Oman. The same system is also bringing unusually wet weather to nearby Oman and southeastern Iran, where at least 18 people have died, and this is about Oman specifically, in recent days as the heavy rain caused flooding. Now, Frederick Otto, a leader in the field field of assessing the role of climate change on specific extreme weather events, has attributed global warming as a big reason behind the unusual rainfall. He has said it is highly likely that the deadly destructive rain in Oman and Dubai was made heavier by human-caused climate change. He spoke this to AFP. Meanwhile, Bloomberg reported that heavy rain stemmed partly from cloud seeding. The UAE started cloud seeding operations in 2002 to address water security issues. Now, Ahmed Habib, a specialist meteorologist, has been widely quoted, particularly by the Bloomberg, that seeding planes carried out 7 missions over the past 2 days. For any cloud that's suitable over the UAE, you make the operation, he had said. In fact, NCM, that's the National Center of Meteorology in the UAE, confirmed that seeding planes flew 7 missions over 2 days. However, and this was basically to target suitable clouds to maximize rainfall. However, the NCM has said that it has tracked the incoming heavy rainfall but did not target any clouds during that period of heavy rainfall. And that's 2 important aspects coming from NCM, not contradictory. NCM has of course said that the storm is due to the natural rainfall. Could this be a combination of heavy cloud seeding and existing meteorological conditions? We will not be able to answer this at point, but we will have experts who will join us. For now, I'm being joined by 2 Indians who are living in Dubai. Samra Nasir, who's a fashion buyer, a Dubai resident, as well as Sumit Sharma, who's also a Dubai resident. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us. I hope you both are safe. Samra Nasir, tell us a bit about you. Where are you? What have you been seeing around you?
Okay. Hi, Sneha. How are you?
Thank you so much.
Thankfully, everything has been... I'm okay, thankfully. So I live in this area called Dubai Marina in Dubai. Thankfully, not much damage has been done here. But yesterday it was around 24 hours of constant rainfall with, certain parts of the day wherein the temperature and the weather was extreme. So like at 3 p.m. yesterday, it was pitch dark and it was quite scary at that time. It has affected multiple services like, delivery apps are not working. Public transport has come to a halt. But again, this was yesterday. A lot of damage has happened. But I would like to say here that the local authorities, the residents, the civilian have gone out of the way almost to, combat all this damage and get out of this storm. Today has been quite sunny.
Right.
So hopefully we should, get
it's
better.
Been sunny, but do you see inundation or flooding around? Is that something you see around you even now?
Not in Marina, but there are certain low-lying regions, there is this area parallel to us, which is Jumeirah Lake Towers. It is basically a residential area, and in the middle of it is a big, huge lake, which is kind of overflowing in certain areas, but nothing that is causing, life-threatening issues. It is obviously a little troublesome, but nothing serious. Thankfully.
Have you been able to go out? Are you working from home?
We have been working from home yesterday also, today also, especially because a lot of the regions, where our offices are, like Javza, Al-Quoz, they are amongst the low-lying regions. So there is a lot of waterlogging issues there. So hopefully we get back to work tomorrow, but today, yesterday was all work from home.
Right. I'm also being joined by Sumit Sharma. Let us get him also to give his perspective. Sumit, where are you? What have you been seeing over the last 24 hours, Sumit?
Yes, a lot. Just to add a bit to what Samra said, is that I have also witnessed similar scenes yesterday. That's 3 p.m. You've had a storm. a lot of wind. The reports say it's about 45, 47 kilometers per hour of wind. So that does, in fact, cause a lot of mayhem. A couple of trees uprooted. Waterlogging is basically in the low-lying areas and underpasses, which have those, like there are some scenes which are playing on your screen, that those are basically low-lying areas. But I must add to this, Sneha, and I'm sure Samra, as a resident of Dubai, would agree with me, is that they've done a fantastic job in the cleanup. They have also warned us in advance, well in advance. So we've been given a day's warning. They have the Ministry of Interior, which is the moi.gov. They have the Instagram handle, and they've warned these residents to stay indoors on the 16th. Now we've tried to brave it. And so that bit of inconvenience is bound to happen.
What do you mean by you tried to brave it?
Yeah, we tried to brave it, actually, like defy the thing and then just move to work and say like, okay, inshallah, let's see what happens. And well, we face the consequences then. So yeah, that's bound to happen, I'm sure. So it's going to be work from home tomorrow as well. And public-private enterprise are going to be closed up to the weekend. That's about Friday. This cleanup operation has, really expedited. I have, in fact, even tweeted it today that, yesterday versus today, my street is completely different. Today at about 9 a.m., the metro started functioning. A couple of hypermarkets were shut down.
Have all the metro started functioning or part of it?
A couple of what you call stations have a little bit of what you call water logging, which are in the low-lying areas. So I presume, I'm not sure because I don't travel by metro, I drive. So I presume that those stations, the metro wouldn't stop on or would probably bypass. I'm not sure what the situation is on that. I wouldn't like to comment on that, but metro definitely is functioning. I see the metro functioning. So metro is on.
So in your area, have essential services, deliveries, delivery apps, have they started functioning in your area?
Retail delivery apps and retail is a challenge, but let me tell you, the recovery is very quick. They've really quickly recovered, and there are a couple of areas the delivery apps have started functioning, and retail stores also have opened.
Right. Thank you very much for that perspective as well. Samra, last question to you as well. I believe you would have to, the way your work nature would be, you would have to be going to multiple locations. So when do you really think you will be able to start your work the way it is meant to be?
I'm assuming, like with everybody's efforts here, we should get back to normal by this weekend. I'm assuming by Monday, it should, get clear pretty soon, and we can go back to our market visits, see the stores, and do our work.
Okay, Sumit, local administration, the official administration, have they been reaching out to the residents? Have you been getting regular communication?
Yes.
Constantly. I think, social media has been a very strong tool that way, even being used by the authorities and advisories. Everyone is giving proper warnings, proper instructions. Okay. So it has been good that way.
And in multiple languages, I must say, in English, Arabic, Chinese as well, and in multiple languages, Hindi, Urdu. So they reach out. The public outreach is by the authorities is fantastic. Even the civil defense is posted. Civil defense would be akin to basically the fire department or the NDRF for India, for the Indian populace watching.
All right.
So it's basically those guys are on tenterhooks, in fact, and the cleanups are happening. It's just the underpasses which are flooded at the moment. So that kind of makes the traffic flow a little, challenging.
Sure. So Samra as well as Sumit, thank you very much for joining us. We are glad that you are safe. We just hope that Dubai and the other affected areas just bounce back to normalcy as soon as it can. We wish all of you and everyone there real quick recovery. Thank you for joining us.
I'll add a point that just to get over a challenge, you need intent and capability. Dubai has ample of it, but my heart goes out to countries like Oman, where the damage is higher. So my prayers go out to people there and to everyone else in Dubai and everyone who's affected.
That's right.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us. Right. And we must remember airport operations. There are advisories for the Dubai airport to not travel there unless it is extremely necessary. Flight operations still remain diverted or cancelled whether it be to and from Dubai, including from India as well. And I'm being joined right now by GP Sharma, the president of SkyMet, Dilip Cherian, founder Perfect Relations, as well as Professor Sachidanand. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining us. Very two quick questions before I go over to Professor Sachidanandan again. Dilip Cherian, we just heard two residents from Dubai about how they were speaking that there's an intent to recover, there is an intent to move on, to return to normalcy. And we are glad that that intent is there. But Dubai's story is not an isolated story. This is a story that the world needs to learn from, just the way there have been repeated episodes over the last 2 years, if I may. Absolutely unprecedented historic levels of either rainfall or heat or drought across the world.
You know, Sneha, at this point of time, while discussing Dubai and in a sense, looking at what happens to a city which is hyper-planned and extraordinarily resilient, we have 117,000 people being translocated in Kazakhstan because of heavy rains. So this kind of, natural calamity is happening at a rate never seen before. The countries that can cope have citizens who are luckier, and countries who can't cope have citizens who get displaced, homeless, all kinds of things. So I think we need to recognize that this is climate change coming and taking a very hefty bite of all urban and non-urban centers. It doesn't matter where you are, you're going to be at a much higher level of vulnerability. The second thing is that if you plan for it, if you're geared for it, even if it's just 24 hours of warning, it makes a huge difference to how much life and limb are put at risk. So far, as reports indicate, and reports are pretty scant, Dubai has had maybe one loss of life or maybe two. But for this volume of disruption, that is extremely low. I would suspect that there may be more later on, which will be discovered. But the fact is that you have a city, a city state, which has a highly proactive government and the funding as well as the desire to do what's necessary to make sure that the entire citizenry are looked after. I think that's the lesson we have to learn.
And Dilip Cherian, before I move on to the next panelist as well, one more quick word. It's not, we are saying this is unprecedented, but the fact remains just 6 months ago, Dubai witnessed something which was again unprecedented. So it's just a matter of months when unprecedented is replaced with another unprecedented. And we're not seeing this in Dubai alone. We've seen this across countries, including India, and that's the important point to drive. Could this have been averted, or could this have been managed in a better way, considering the volume, which was humongous? 1.5 years of rainfall in 24 hours is huge. So even if they had done anything, could anything have been done that could have salvaged the situation? I mean, we are told warnings were given out, which itself is very good.
I doubt it. In fact, this is where nations need to take decisions, because the kind of rainfall levels, you cannot plan for this. If you were to plan for it, it would be redundant for most of the year. The other point, though, is that the world needs to understand that huge investments as well as huge costs will be extracted by nature because of the fact that we have been treating it callously. I don't think it's a question of just cloud seeding. The rainfall in places which haven't even heard the word cloud seeding has been substantial. So prepare to use the word unprecedented in more news reports. from more parts of the world and for larger numbers of people. That, unfortunately, is the cost we are paying for having violated all the norms of nature.
Right. GP Sharma, to you next. What are we really looking at? Could you break this down for us? Could you give us the key critical causes that you have been able to analyze as what's unfolding before Dubai? How crucial is the aspect of climate change that many experts have attributed to this? Or would you see this? I mean, no one has seen it till now as a freak incident. How would you explain what's happening in Dubai or several other parts of the world? But let's just start with Dubai at this point.
You're asking me, Sneha?
That's right, GP Sharma. I'm asking you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sneha, these extreme weather events, they were earlier also. The only thing is, it has become frequent and a little more stronger now. You mentioned in your report whether it was Australia, China, or the US, other parts of the country. We hear it happening again and again, time and again. Okay, and what we know about this particular event is it is a multiple factors which have contributed to the scale of this disastrous event which has happened. Okay, it is not a single most factor. It is not a weather system alone. There was a system, all right, but there have been systems moving across earlier also, but then they have been aided by, like you mentioned correctly, there was a attempt to make some cloud seeding also. It's a very complex phenomena which we do. The region which we have, that is UAE, Dubai, all these parts, these are tropical countries wherein the rainfall is minimal, actually 6 months of dry weather conditions. Right from past September onwards till about March, nothing happens. August is the driest month there. Total yearly rainfall less than 4 inches, less than 100 millimeter. And what we witnessed is it was a cloud burst, which we witnessed normally in other parts like Indian region. We have some terrain in the heterogeneous parts are there in the northern parts, in the northeastern parts. This is the weather activity which we experience over those parts. But then the fact remains, you see the last 5 months, starting with November, December, Jan, Feb, March, they have been the hottest ever on record. What does it indicate? We keep talking about global warming, climate change. This is what it is amply being proven more and more again and again that it's happening. So it's a multiple factor, which I said, along with the weather system, the cloud seeding, which we was done. There was an attempt on 2 days. UAE is that pocket. Dubai is one country which is ready on a short notice to do any cloud seeding, unlike other parts. Okay, so they did fly those many missions, and the gray side of the cloud seeding is once you do the experiment, once you go through the exercise, it is an uncontrolled activity thereafter. You have done your bit, and after that it becomes uncontrolled. I feel it has happened like that. Okay, there was a weather system which has moved across Gulf of Oman and the other peninsular regions of Arabia Peninsula, but then aided by all these factors. In addition to that, I would like to say the chaotic pattern across the world is attributed to the other oceanic parameters, be it El Nino or La Nina, which talk about. El Nino at the moment is causing chaos in many other parts of the globe also. It could be one aiding this particular incident. Okay, we have seen diverse weather conditions over Indian subcontinent as of now. Northern parts of the country have not seen 40 degrees so far. It's almost, we are reaching about 20th of April. Delhi has not touched that. Okay. Whereas some parts in the south, you are having some heat wave also in pockets. What I want to mention is adverse weather conditions, extreme weather conditions, diverse weather conditions, they are on the rise. And then it's on account of multiple weather factors, which are contributing to this. And this particular one, obviously, this is one of the extreme weather event. We will use the word definitely unprecedented because it has happened after about 75 years or so. But mind you, the rainfall which was there, 250 millimeter, exceeding that in about 24 hours, and then some places in excess of 100 millimeter rainfall. The soil is not mandated to absorb that deluge. Okay. If there are some pockets, there are some parts which can take that. Okay, not that part of the country. Yeah.
All right. Okay. No, very valid points here. I would also request Dilip Cherian and GP Sharma to allow me the next few minutes to just understand a very complex issue with Professor Sachidanand Tripathi, who joins us at this point. He's a professor with the Departments of Civil Engineering and Department of Sustainable Energy Engineering at IIT Kanpur. Sir, my question to you, to a lot of audience who will be listening to us, and cloud seeding for that matter, is not a new concept. When I say it's not a new concept, it's not a new concept to Indians, because it's at IIT Kanpur itself that you had an experiment, I believe earlier this year or last year this year, where you looked at the possibility of cloud seeding as a solution to air pollution. And that had garnered headlines all over. Now, help us understand, sir, what many people are attributing to cloud seeding in Dubai. Dubai has made it very clear that it did not happen on the day that the deluge happened, that the excessive rainfall happened. There was no cloud seeding, no targeted cloud seeding, targeted attempts at that time. However, they have said there were 2 days in the past. We don't know how before. We don't have how close to that particular day. We don't have details on that. In your understanding, while cloud seeding is a great solution, are there concerns around this as well? Are there threats considering how things are moving in the global warming era?
Well, thank you. You see, earlier panelists already have talked about in detail about the cause and genesis of this event. I'd just like to add a couple of things here that, of course, extreme events, as such what happened in Dubai, are quite well predicted that, in the event or wake of climate change, we would see such extreme, for example, in this case where a rainfall happened in probably 24 hours, which amounts to the total rainfall that would have happened in Dubai in 1.5 years. And the reason being that, as we know that as the earth is getting warmer, you would have more evaporation, that is more water will go into the atmosphere. And at higher temperature atmosphere, water holding capacity goes up. That's a more subtle concept. And because it can hold more water, eventually it will definitely get precipitated, and thereby it finally falls on the surface. And that is one thing that has probably happened in Dubai. Now, if you look at it, what happened in Dubai is basically, as earlier panelists talked about, that there was a very, I think, a severe storm that originated from the Gulf of Oman and moved towards the central Middle East peninsular region. And that contributed to this very heavy rainfall that would have, let's say, if you discount the cloud seeding for the moment, let's assume that cloud seeding has contributed to it. We all know that cloud seeding at the most can contribute to 15 to 25% enhancement in rainfall. If at all, you can make that enhancement. So if 25 centimeter happened, and if you discount 25%, which is contributed because of cloud seeding for the assumption's sake, then basically still you would have 20 centimeter of rainfall that would have happened, right? Now, the fact that what the authorities are telling that they did not try the experiment this time, of course, we know that United Arab Emirates have a very long and well-structured program.
No, they haven't said, they haven't said they did not try this experiment this time. They have said they did not do it on the day Dubai received this massive rainfall, but they did say that there were 7 seeding planes in 2 days. Now, we don't know how close to that particular D-Day was these 2 days. We don't have details on that. However, they have said that this was done. But coming back to your point, about 15 to 20% of enhancement of rain maximum, if at all possible. Please go ahead, sir.
So, you see, even let's say that there were some trials going on. Generally, for such severe storm, anybody who does cloud seeding, you have to fly aircraft or the drone inside the storm. in such cases where there are deep clouds and extreme events, extreme, systems are developing, you wouldn't like to go inside, because any one of us who have flown before, you see that we are very careful, pilots and crew, in fact, dread to enter into a high turbulent area. In such very extreme weather conditions, you don't like to fly aircraft because this can endanger the safety of aircraft and the entire operation. And I believe, because that could be the reason, because of that, if such a storm is moving, you would not like to do cloud seeding. And as the reasons I also stated before, that even let's say if you do the cloud seeding, at the most you can only get a rainfall enhancement of about 25%.
Okay.
So that is the thing what you can probably make a note. Right.
Very important points here, sir. But before I move on to the other two panelists, in 40 seconds, and this is a huge challenge for you, could you explain to our viewers in very layman perspective, what is cloud seeding? No complex terms.
No, actually it's basically making artificial rain by kind of modifying the clouds when they form, when they are at a very initial stage. You try to seed it with artificial seeds, which you create in laboratory. They are mixture of common salt and some other kind of salt like silver iodide or potassium iodide. A right kind of mixture you try to inject at right time, at right depth or altitude in the cloud, so that you can accelerate, speed up cloud formation processes, so that you can basically get enhanced rainfall ultimately falling on the ground. That is what you try to do here.
Right. Right. Professor Sachidanand Tripathi, thank you very much for your explanation, for your very important points. I believe you have to leave for some reason. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Back to you, Mr. Dilip Cherian. In today's era, where we are talking about, say, what's happening in Dubai, say what's happening in Australia, say what's happening in India, my question really, Dilip Cherian, our country is doing enough. We've had great summits, we've had great meetings, including in India, including in some of the other superpowers that have hosted them. We've had COP28 for that matter. Important declarations that have come in. But do you see the intent and the resolve financially to be able to do what it takes? How many countries even have a climate change minister or a climate change portfolio, including India, where I think you really need to have that, because that's going to be the focal point that then takes, that becomes the fulcrum when an emergency does happen for the inter-department coordination, inter-government coordination. It cannot be isolated countries, it cannot be isolated governments.
I think, Sneha, that's a very good question. There are three aspects to this. One is science and technology, the other is politics, and the third is human dynamics. I think that most countries don't recognize that today the science, technology, and statistics to find out what's going on exists as never before. What is missing is the political will and the investment that's necessary. Even more important than the investment is the ability to ensure that you do no harm. You've caused enough harm, learn to cease and desist. And this is where people dynamics come in. If politicians are not strong, then they will fall prey to the belief of people who are desperate that the only way to go forward is to annihilate and destroy more of nature. They don't understand that it is the poorest and the ones who need help the most who are also devastated the most when these climatic crises happen. So I think given the volume of data and technology which is available today, politicians, bureaucrats need to help people understand that putting pressure on the soil, on the seas, on our rivers, on our forests is the wrong thing to do. It needs education, and it needs, in many senses, turning the wheel back. It is something that cannot be escaped. People need to recognize that the same people who are protesting, demanding rights of access, are the people who will be punished by nature simply because they're the ones who are most exposed to nature.
Right. My last question to you, GP Sharma. As we proceed forward, there are only chances that these instances may only worsen across the country, that global warming will only trigger worse catastrophic events across the world. If you have to give two key takeaways or your two big learnings, what would they be? Or two warnings, if it may be.
Sneha, we have had number of meetings, the conferences, we call it as, last one was COP28 in the same region. UAE was a host for that COP28. The next one, again, that will be COP29, Azerbaijan, that will be there. Look at the decisions which were taken. Look at the deliberations which were made in that particular meeting, okay, that conference, COP, conference of. Have we done enough on that? Okay, it's a warning again and again and again from all corners, from all the agencies, that unless we do the needful at the right time, this is going to happen. What we are witnessing is it may repeat again and again, if not the same pocket, possibly some other region, some other parts of the globe as such. Okay, the answer to this is obviously to reduce the emissions, reduce the greenhouse gases also. I think we have done enough. India is doing a very, very great job in this particular thing. Make use of the solar energy, wind energy, reduce the use of the fossil fuel, which is not reversible. In any case, the other part of energy which I mentioned, whether it's a solar or a wind or so, these are the reversible. You have enough of it. And we are in the tropics. We have enough high, very huge store of these energies, okay, available to us. But then everybody has to be on board. Only one or two or few countries, they cannot take it to a conclusive evidence as such. But then we have to do it together. Okay. The answer is only this: climate change will keep us troubling again and again on account of the extreme weather events happening in different parts of the globe. Now, it is gone are the days then we used to say the fair weather seasons are there in some pockets. No, it can happen. It's a fair weather season as far as Dubai, UAE is concerned.
That's
this
true.
time of the year is a fair weather season, and it has happened around this time. Okay, what else? Extreme warning we would like to have. This is enough. I think if we do not do at this moment, we do not do the needful, we are in for bigger troubles also. Okay, it may not happen in the similar geographical location.
We are also totally out of time, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're also out of time. Thank you very much, GP Sharma, as well as Dilip Cherian, for joining us, for sparing your time, for bringing in some very, very important perspectives. Before we just end this discussion here, one thing that we need to remind ourselves yet again, at a time when countries, including India, are scaling heights and wanting to flex their muscles to become superpowers, this is one challenge. If they do not adhere to, their might may just come crumbling down. If at all they want to truly lead the world, this is one challenge that they need to be able to lead well. Thank you very much for joining us and for your time.